Hello everyone, today we will see the mistake number 11, not seeing an intermediate move. And in order to understand what do I mean by the intermediate move, is when you play a sequence of moves that you thought it will be like this, that. And all of a sudden, there is a move hidden. It's not actually obvious. So here in this position, white to play, and white thought about queen takes b6, which seems to be winning move, because after queen takes b6 we are thinking that black has to take back because we are a piece up now, and after a takes b6 or c takes b6, both ways I will go knight d7 check and I will fork these two guys and I will get my queen back and I will be a piece up. Yeah, so the intermediate move happened when your opponent most likely counter threat. It's not actually following the natural order, and instead of taking back your queen, threatening your king, like for example rook takes g2. This is intermediate move, and after that black is winning, because if you take with the king then, or with the rook, sorry, there is this check, so my queen will be away of this fork. And if you take with the king, again I do have this check or this check, and again my queen is away with the fork, and then I'll take the queen. So this is the example to just illustrate or to show what do I mean by the intermediate move. One more example. This is taken from a real game. Here in this position, white played not a very strong move, which is queen h5, moving the queen away. Looks like threatening the knight, and after queen h5, bishop takes b5 played. And after bishop takes b5, white's idea was, okay, now I am a piece down. So I have this idea of bishop to f4. And after bishop to f4, I should take this knight back because the knight is under the pen. And if you go rook d5 to protect, which is the natural move order, then I can just remove the defender by rook fd1 and away with the bishop's threat. And after you move your knight away, then I can take queen takes d5, and after he takes d5, bishop takes b8, for example, yeah? And then I move my knight back. Yes, you have two pieces for a rook, but I will do have some initiative. Yes, b4, b5, a4, c6 somewhere, maybe rook takes d5, knight takes d5. Still, there is a lack in black's development, yeah? But after bishop f4, black found this idea, which is bishop takes f1. White saw that and he said, but wait a second, I do have bishop takes e5, and now I'm threatening your queen, and your queen has to go to the corner, otherwise I'm winning the queen, yeah? You have nothing to be done. And then I can, for example, take the bishop. And yes, I am exchanged down, but your pieces are still sleeping, and your queen is very far away of the game. And maybe threats like queen f7 will be deadly. Probably, yeah? Looks like a huge compensation, and there's a pawn or two for that. So materially, even materially, white is not down. But in the game, white missed the intermediate g6. So again, instead of defending, counter-attacking. But what makes the intermediate moves difficult to see is that sometimes it happens after the first moves of the line. So the first move of the line was queen h5. Not okay, I will decide, because we are thinking in terms of lines, not in terms of moves, yeah? I am thinking like, okay, I'll go queen h5, bishop takes b5, bishop f4, and bishop takes f1, bishop takes e5, I should be fine. I will stop actually calculating that far, yeah? Looks, I have done my job, but all of a sudden, after bishop takes e5, g6 came. And after g6, black is winning now. Why? Because if you go queen g5, there is the strong move, rook d5, and now we don't have rook d1, as probably I can take, and then will be a checkmate. So you cannot do that, and if you take my queen, I'll take your queen. And if you take my bishop, I'll take your bishop. And if you move your bishop away, for example, attacking the rook, then simply rook g8. And now I am up in exchange, and I have a very strong position. Rook d2 is coming, maybe rook d5. This is active rook, bishop is already doing something here, and black is winning. That's the intermediate move. One more example. Here, black thought, okay, I'll go knight d4. I want to improve the knight. I want to get rid of this annoying queen. And if he takes my queen, I'll take back. And if f4, I can take on e2, rook takes e2, I have e4. And looks very promising position for black, as he's probably a pawn up, and there are passers from here. This is already a protected passer, yeah? However, white missed, or black missed, both missed actually. After knight d4, queen d6, rook d6, f4, which is kind of clear move, you take on e2, there's this intermediate move, f takes e5. Again, instead of following the natural sequence of moves, which is like you take my bishop, I'll take your knight, which is logical, natural. No, I do have f takes e5 first. I'm attacking your rook, and next I will take your knight. And now actually white is kind of slightly better, because after rook e6, rook e2, now this is a weakness, this is a weakness. Already this can be considered as a passer. So white all of a sudden has chances to do something in this game before he was losing. The game did not find that idea, but that's another subject. Moving on. Here again. White played knight b3, thinking that he's completely fine against bishop takes b4, and bishop takes b4 should not work. Because I can take on f5, because now if c takes b4, then knight takes b4, yeah? Attacking here 2 times and here as well. And if you take my bishop threatening my queen, the problem is that knight takes c2 with check. Probably white saw this, he's 1800 player, so he's a good one. And he thought, okay, after bishop takes b4, I will take bishop takes f5. And now I get rid of my bishop, I exchange it actually, and if you take this way or that way, okay, I'll do my best, and then c takes b4. F knight takes f5, then c takes b4. F queen takes f5, then we'll exchange queens, and then c takes b4. And I will be a piece up with some compensation, yeah? But what he missed is that after queen takes f5, queen takes f5, there is this intermediate move, bishop takes c3, check. And if you cover with the bishop, I'll take. If you move or cover with any of the knights, I could take, but knight takes f5 to be coming, and black is 2 or 3 pawns up, whatever. He's completely winning. Why? Because white missed an intermediate move. One more example. Here we go. White played b4. He is 2100, and he missed the intermediate move after knight takes e4. Now, if you take back my knight, then I'll take your bishop, and I am a pawn up almost for free. As you cannot take on d6, there is some issues along this pen, yeah? For example, knight takes e4, bishop takes d5. If you take on d6, maybe this works. I'm not completely sure. Probably bishop takes e4 first, but after queen d6, knight takes, there's some kind of bishop takes f3, and if you take, I take here. Maybe this is, again, intermediate move, yeah? While we're seeing the line. But, however, after b4, knight takes e4, white said this is a bad move because bishop takes e7, and black has to take back his bishop, yeah? Queen takes e7, and then I take knight takes e4. Okay, this is another pen, but there is no way in the world to make use of that. Like if rook c4, I have, for example, knight g3. Protecting, next move will move my queen away. I'm doing completely fine. I am a piece up. I should win this game. But here's game. After knight takes e4, bishop takes e7. The intermediate move, queen b6 check. And now we don't have a good cavalry, and if you go king h1, probably same for rook f2, there is this strong move, knight takes c3. And after knight takes c3, now the queen is under fire, the rook, the knight, everything, and black is completely winning. Wow, this concept is great, and it's one of the things that makes probably chess alive that far. The creativity of chess, the hidden resources, yeah. Guys, if you see the video this far, then please do like, subscribe, and don't forget to see the whole series, as we already covered the first 10. So last one, which is interesting, as I am I used to be an accelerated dragon player. So after e4, c5, knight f3, g6, c4, there is c4 and there is d4 actually. Both you can find the same idea, which is after bishop e3, knight f6, bishop c4, there is this interesting move, queen a5. Another main line is castling, but there is queen a5. This is probably the old main line. Threatening knight takes c4 and forcing white to castle short. As far as I remember, castling short is the only move for white in this position. So the long side castling is no longer available. So after queen a5, If white wanted to castle long, then he needs to do something like queen d2, which is probably very automatic. Now there is no pin, and if knight takes e4, then knight takes e4, but actually there is knight takes e4. The point is, if you take my knight, I will exchange queens first, but then this knight is not protected. Yeah, I am a pawn up for free. So you cannot take with a knight. But wait a second, can't I take on c6 first? And if you take this way or that way, then I'll take your knight, and white is simply a piece up. Yes, but there's an intermediate move here. Can you find it? Question for you. Queen c3. What a move. The point is, if you take with a pawn, I'll take bishop takes c3. And now I'm threatening your queen. Oh, wait, sorry, not knight takes, I mean, I have knight takes d2 right away, yeah? Knight takes d2 right away, not bishop takes c3, no need to play bishop takes c3. Knight d2 right away, and I'll take the knight next. The bishop is under fire, and black is doing completely great. Perfect. So after knight takes, it's just queen takes c3. Taking this way, I'll take with the bishop check, and then d takes c6, and white is a pawn up with a better, black is a pawn up with a better pawn structure. Another actually variation which I like about this, for example, instead of queen d2, there's this idea of f3, supporting the pawn, and then ideas like queen d2 long castling and the what's so-called Yugoslav attack is again doesn't work here. Going before, very strong move, attacking the bishop, and after bishop b3 there is this strong move, knight e4. If you take the knight, then I'll take your knight, and again if you take on c6, now in this position there is bishop takes c3, b takes c3, queen takes c3, but white said so what? I am a piece up now, and I'm threatening another piece. If you take my knight, I'll take your knight, and I'm doing fine. If you retreat with your knight, I will retreat with my knight. However, black has this fascinating resource, dc6. The point is, you cannot take my knight as there is bishop g4. Now check, and you lose your queen. What a line. And what if bishop d4? The queen is under fire, and the rook as well. But again, black has this great intermediate move, e5. The point is, if you take here, I'll take with the queen. If you take my knight, I'll take your bishop. And if you take my queen, I will make use of the fact that there is a fork here, and knight takes c3. And black is 2 pawns up, and he's completely winning. This is, guys, the 11th mistake. Or not able to see, not seeing intermediate moves. How can you solve that? By whenever you enter complications, you enter kind of long calculation like 3 moves or 2 moves and above. Try to think about your opponent's resources to counterattack you, not only to defend against your threats. Most of the time, your opponent will defend against your threats, but always keep an eye on his counterattacking and use that in your favor. Whenever your opponent is attacking you, try to counterattack their attack, so you might play the intermediate moves. And actually, the intermediate moves has a great psychology value. Whenever you play or your opponent play intermediate move against you, most likely that will be a turning point in the game, and you will lose. Either if you get an advantage, it might end in a draw, or you might even lose the game. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the whole series. You will find it in your left. And don't forget to subscribe and like. See you soon.